In 2019, Joker was released. It was a shocking success. Nobody expected it to do this well. Joaquin Phoenix, yes, he was fantastic. The director was good. It was a good movie. People went and saw that movie multiple times. What the studio should have done at that point is deconstruct what worked about that movie. Warner Brothers is in the character business. They're in the intellectual property business. It's very unusual to have such a smash success like the one they had. But Joker doesn't stand by itself either. It's also part of the Batman franchise. Yes, Batman was not featured in the Joker movie. But it's understood by the culture and the public that Joker is part of the Batman franchise, which is part of the larger DCU franchise. And they understand once you get a massive success like this, it was incredible. Joker did over $1 billion worldwide on a budget of around $60 million. And the studio was so unconvinced that this was going to work in this format for this character. They actually sold half the rights to mitigate their risk. A lot of studios will do that. They will sell participation rights in profit and share the risk to make sure that if it doesn't work out, they don't lose that much money. The studio's under different management now. I understand that. And I understand once you have a hit, what you want to try to do is get the same ingredients back into that box and then repeat that hit and make a ton of money. But this is not the way to do it. From Game Rant, Joker 2 early ticket sales are in the same range of 2 box office bombs from 2023. Joker 2's early ticket sales are on par with box office flops like Indiana Jones 5 and The Flash. And look at this one. From Slash Film, Joker 2 might pull an Aquaman 2 at the box office. Now, they spent $200 million to make this sequel. And they wanted to please Joaquin Phoenix. They wanted to please Todd Phillips. But Joaquin Phoenix was the guy who was probably the most difficult person to deal with on this. And his performance of Joker in the first movie really was excellent. People don't go and see a movie more than one time. They don't go see the movie again and again unless they love the performance and the entire package. So to get Joaquin Phoenix was absolutely crucial, but not that crucial. We've had Heath Ledger play Joker before. He was compelling. I mean, the character wears a lot of makeup typically. So in this costume, with this makeup, if you can capture a compelling performance, do you really need Joaquin Phoenix? Because if you say you do, what are you going to do? Is he going to really do a third movie for Joker? I don't think he will. It was a stretch to get him to do this one. And to do this one, they turned it into a semi-musical? Also from Slash Film, Joker Folie à Deux review. The year's boldest comic book movie is a compelling musical deconstruction. It's an R-rated musical deconstruction. Are Batman fans supposed to go see this? Are Joker fans supposed to go see this? Of course, many, many will. Do most fans even know what a compelling musical deconstruction means? It's not part of their marketing. This is just a review, but please. Do you know how difficult it is to get a format to work? And the Joker format for that film, the study of the single character, the study of the villain, the low-budget aesthetic, which wasn't a detraction from the production. The low-budget aesthetic added value to the experience of the movie. Sometimes you get magic in a bottle. It's very difficult to replicate it. But the study on a massive success must be, especially an unexpected success, must be what works about this. Go talk to the people who saw the movie 8 times, 9 times, 10 times. Not everyone saw this movie 10 times, of course. I did a lot of videos on this back when the movie came out and it was an unexpected success. It was a cultural phenomenon. Talk to those people. Ask them why they saw the movie multiple times. Let that be the guidance for how you make any kind of sequel. Because this isn't just about Joker 2 or even a potential Joker 3. This impacts all of the characters and all of the projects that the DCU is working on. They need to learn from what worked in this movie and repeat it. And if that would have meant repeating it without Joaquin Phoenix, that's actually fine. Because Joaquin Phoenix is mortal. He's not going to keep doing Joker movies forever. But are you going to keep doing Joker movies? If you can make a successful movie for $60 million or $80 million and do $1 billion, that's terrific. But if you can do a $60 or $80 million movie and do $200 million because it's part of the Batman universe, if Joker didn't have the association with the Batman universe, would it have done anything near $1 billion worldwide? Of course it would not have. The performances were great, but the magic, the art of this movie started with the intellectual property. And that's what the studio always has to look at first. They can't look at how can we attract super talented people to mess around with our intellectual property. That's important and that's fine. And sometimes you can get like this incredible result that they got with Joker. But they still have to have rules that come first that say, look, we're not going to violate our intellectual property's rules. We're not going to take a format and damage the format. DC is now working on new movies based on Bane and Deathstroke. That's a great idea. Batman villains Bane and Deathstroke getting movie treatment at DC Studios. That's a great idea. That's completely fine. I hope for the sake of the studio, they are looking at pleasing the fans and giving them a really compelling take based on the success of the original Joker. They should not be open to doing musicals, regardless of how much money the first movie makes. You can't do a sequel and not meet the expectations of the people that made the first movie so successful. It takes you wildly off track. In the beginning of September, around a month ago, here's where they were at from Box Office Pro, a very good, reliable site. Long range forecast. Joker Folie à Deux tracking for $100 million plus debut. And now it's tracking for as low as $55 to $65 million. Was Deadpool and Wolverine a musical? Did Ryan Reynolds go out and say, you know something, I want to make sure I do something that pleases me super creatively and takes risks with my character? A character I don't own. A character that's part of a larger universe. A character that, thanks to the MCU trying to blow themselves up to support diversity, equity, and inclusion, looks like they've been able to save the entire Marvel Universe brand. As much as one really successful movie can get an entire brand to look successful again or look like it has potential again, a movie that falls below initial projections and initial expectations can damage all of their projects. It can damage their financing for the multiple projects they have going on with the DCU. The DCU is a much bigger deal now for Warner Brothers than any single Batman or Joker film. They're trying to demonstrate the thing is worth multiple billions of dollars. Well, it's not if they have strange art projects come out that don't fulfill people's expectations. And I'm not saying this movie's going to lose money, but it looks like it's going to leave at least $600 or $700 million on the table in terms of what it could have otherwise done. And realistically, probably all to just please talent at the expense of the intellectual property. And not just expense, complete risk of the intellectual property. If this movie does lose money or really performs well under expectations, if it does an Indiana Jones 5 kind of result or a Flash kind of result, it's going to damage their ability to do another Joker movie. And they also don't have a workable format, a workable platform that they could say, oh, you know what? We're going to do a slate of 5 or 10 DC villain movies. Why not the Riddler? You did the Joker. Now you could do the Riddler. No, you can't do the Riddler. And if you could do the Riddler, you're going to be much more restricted as to what you could do with a budget, so that even if you had an idea of like, look, I can do a $120 million Riddler movie, just work with me on this. It's not $60 million, but look, at $120 million, I think we'd really have something important. It'd be great for the brand. People will really enjoy it. They'll want to see more DCU movies. If this film doesn't work, they can't do that. Did you ever hear about a movie called 300? Most of us have, based on Frank Miller's graphic novel. Really enjoyable. Made a lot of money, $456 million worldwide. On a workable budget, a profitable movie. And then they eventually did a sequel years later. The producer of 300, Mark Canton, saw the success of 300 and deconstructed its aesthetics. Mark Canton was able to follow up 300 with a movie that felt like it was in the 300 universe. The Immortals. Came out in 2011. Did $226 million. Not as big, but it was profitable. But it felt like it was made in the same universe, even though it had nothing to do with 300. It had nothing to do with Frank Miller. He was not involved in that movie. He was able to try to look at what worked with 300 and then replicate it. Eventually, 300 did a sequel. They brought in a major female character, I guess trying to be woke or whatever it was they were doing. I didn't enjoy the movie. Maybe you enjoyed the movie. It did $337 million worldwide. It didn't make the same money as the original. It didn't get destroyed. But we also haven't seen a 300 Part 3 just yet. And we probably won't. From Game Rant, Joker 2 early ticket sales are in the same range of 2 box office bombs from 2023. And how do you know this movie is going to disappoint? Because the momentum is not there. Almost no one's talking about this movie. No one's excited about this movie. They could surprise people when you go see it. It may turn out to be an incredible new format where they have musical dramas coming out every week now, but I wouldn't expect it. It could be a surprise, but it's not a risk that the studio should have ever taken. He was so great. Joaquin Phoenix was great. Get rid of him if he's not going to cooperate with doing a straight sequel to the existing movie. Get a younger guy. Get someone that can do 5 movies. But alternatively, they went with the artist and they made the movie that he wanted to make. That's the compromise they decided to make. When artificial intelligence is a bigger player in making movies, you will see a sequel that looks a lot like the movie that came before it. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know, but it's not going to be the same kind of financial risk as going off in a completely different direction from what people liked in the first place. The problem with working with artists sometimes is that the money isn't important. And I understand that because I get creative impulses and I spend time on things that aren't going to give me the same return on investment for my energies. I get that. It's something I want to do, but you have to be very careful that that's still going to be a commercial direction to go in. Otherwise, it's a luxury. And it's a luxury, in this case, that puts the entire DCU at risk. Projections suggest Joker 2 may open in the $55 to $65 million range, falling below the original Joker's earnings. Joker was released in 2019 to praise and criticism. With a relatively small budget that most people guess was $60 million, Joker is the most profitable comic book movie to date, the first R-rated film to reach the $1 billion mark, and the highest grossing R-rated film until Deadpool and Wolverine claimed the title in 2024. And if you think about it, with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, as an R-rated comic book movie, shouldn't that open the market for Joker 2? Shouldn't that make people say, you know what? Deadpool and Wolverine was pretty cool. Let me see what they can do with Joker 2. It should have. The numbers should not be tracking lower. They should be tracking higher on the momentum of Deadpool and Wolverine. Aquaman, the first movie, did over $1 billion. It was a terrible movie. Aquaman was a terrible movie. But it did well because it kind of felt like it fit in with the Marvel energy. And the Marvel energy at the time, the MCU, was doing huge box office numbers. So why not go see another movie that looks like it feels like that? Why doesn't Joker 2 feel that way? It's such a disappointment creatively and commercially to see it not doing well. Joker 2's early ticket sales being on par with Indiana Jones 5 and The Flash is potentially a worrying sign because both movies were financial flops for Disney and Warner Brothers. With an estimated production budget of $294.7 million, Indiana Jones is one of the most expensive films ever produced. And that number went even over that. On Indiana Jones 5, who knows what's going on inside the books and records of Disney? Nobody actually knows. But it was a massive, massive failure, an incredible disappointment, and the destruction of the franchise. It's estimated The Flash was such a box office bomb, grossing only $270 million against a $200 to $220 million budget. It cost Warner Brothers as much as $200 million in losses. It's impossible to know exactly how a movie is going to do before a movie comes out. But momentum is important. People talking about a movie is important. People saying on social media, I'm going to go see this movie. I can't wait to see this movie in droves is important. And it's indicative of how the movie is ultimately going to do. Did it break through to the culture? The timing for Joker in 2019 also happened to be perfect. There was an energy out there that Joker did fit very well in with. You can't recreate cultural energy just by producing a movie. The movie benefited from what was already there. The movie also benefited from all the energy behind Batman. But what is frustrating about all of this is, sure, the movie might break even, it might make a profit. It doesn't look like it's going to do anywhere near the original movie's business. It's also doing it at a much higher budget. People do care about budgets now, even if it's not our money. We are curious to know, okay, well, you spent $200 million on this. Did you make a profit on it? It's part of experiencing the movie now. We care. What's the most disappointing thing about this is literally the most profitable comic book movie ever, at least as far as how they're working the numbers. On a $60 million budget to do $1 billion worldwide, of course, additional distribution channels as well, bringing in more money from other places. And do you get a sense that they're trying to replicate that money machine, give people what they want in a movie, which obviously they did do with Joker? That is what people wanted from the character. People were very comfortable with the aesthetics. They were very comfortable with how the story was told, what the energy was to the movie. Is there anyone out there trying to replicate the success that was this unexpected, incredibly profitable success? Literally, are they doing that? I don't really have any major objections with what James Gunn is doing with the DCU right now. I don't think there's much else he could do, and he's doing the best that he can. But when you have a rare success, and it relates to budget, format, storytelling, how you're presenting the character, what the audience response is, what you're doing for the audience. Where was the studio right with Joker? Where were they wrong with Joker? Why aren't they tearing it apart, trying to figure out how do we create a system to replicate this success again? It's not like without Joaquin Phoenix, you could not have done what the studio did with Joker in 2019. Heath Ledger's performance wasn't informed by Joaquin Phoenix. It came before Joaquin Phoenix. Now you have the body of work of Heath Ledger. You have the body of work of Joaquin Phoenix. You have the body of work of other performances of the Joker. You have all kinds of other information. You have all kinds of questions you could be asking audience members. I don't understand why they don't just repeat success when they really could just repeat success. It will be great if there's a surprise and this movie does even more business than the original Joker movie did. Maybe it brings in even more people interested in comic book movies. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that. But that's what surprises are all about. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.